new evidence emerges constantly that they have to keep up with in order to stay credible, to stay ahead of the narrative. And so they'll dribble out truth a little bit here and a little bit there. And you look back 50 years later and you finally kind of gotten close to the truth. You don't know the whole truth, but you've gotten close to it. And they've had to admit certain things because evidence has emerged, documents have emerged, testimonies emerged, whatever. And it's forced them to move off their original story. And the limited hangout position as well. The CIA wasn't technically involved as an agency, but there were rogue elements within the agency that were involved in this assassination of JFK, which is where all this is leading, by the way. But it wasn't the agency itself. You can still have faith in the institution itself. It was these rogue elements, these rogue operators. And ultimately, they didn't pull the trigger. It's the Cubans. The Cubans are always the bottom of the food chain when it comes to these covert operations. You have the CIA, which makes you have the national security apparatus, which uses the CIA and this 5412 committee, that cover, and the classified designations so no one can ever get documents or information about it. No one can even know it exists. That's their cover. So you have the national security apparatus, which uses the CIA and the 5412 committee to carry out their little plans. And of course, the CIA uses the mob or uses the Cubans to do the dirty work. So the Cubans are always at the bottom of the food chain, or the mob's at the bottom of the food chain. Sometimes it's the mob and the Cubans that are one and the same, right? Santos Traficante's mob is all Cuban. Sam Giancana's isn't. Carlos Marcello's isn't. But Santos Traficante's it, and that's who they're using. So whenever you hear people say, well, the mob did it or the Cubans did it, just understand it was the CIA who did it because the mob and the Cubans worked for the CIA.